Hey everyone, Colin once again, and welcome back to the next episode review of This Monster Wants to Eat Me, episode 9. And below this special Thanksgiving episode, because this is a fitting one, because this episode, Jesus, man. I'll get to that in a second, but just my god. Listen, I don't know how more this series can do to me, though, but just like, my god, the twists just keep on coming and coming. But really quick, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Spend time with your family. Get a whole eat a whole bunch of food. But Thanksgiving to everybody. But now we'll get into this episode 9 of This Monster Wants to Eat Me. Man, like I said, the twists just keep on coming. They just keep on dropping one after another. And there's no doubt in my mind this has been such a peak of perfection of a series for me. I'm glad I'm watching this. I don't know how people are sleeping on this series. I just don't see it though. Well, people who are watching it, good, yes, of course, but I don't see how this could be under the radar from the anime community. I just don't see it though, because this biggest bombshell of a twist that just dropped. Okay, so we know that Shiori, because I know that she mixed her blood with Hinako, right? Because after what Ayame, the previous yokai that tried to attack her, that when she get pulled back, so if I had known that, I would never try to eat in the first place, right? So now Hinako, she's just been all confused and just full of questions, right? So now she goes and tells Shiori, "Did you put your blood in me, right?" And basically she says yes, and it's like, "Have we been before?" "Yeah, but a long time ago though. 10 years ago." And then the time that was 10 years ago when Hinako thought back to the tragedy of the death of her family, right, during that trip. And so she must have met her. She gave her blood prior to the accident, though, not during the accident, but prior to the accident, because she gave her blood because you know that if you give her blood mixed with human blood, they'll eventually become not edible and they'll smell and taste disgusting, right? But giving her but beforehand, it would take years to adjust, right? And it was also supposed to be like a talisman, like a good luck charm, right? And and to keep the yokai away, right? But since what happened with the tragedy of her family, I guess the blood, like, I would say, like, it mutated her, or it just, I guess maybe it's like the adrenaline rush. It just made it amped up the blood in her, if in her fused blood, like, go up to the next 11th power in a way, like. It just, maybe I would say, I'm just trying to find the right term for, like, how it made the blood mutator in her body faster. I'm trying to say, but it did. And then with Shuri, now she could have, she technically, since she had the blood in her and it made her heal faster. I guess that's why her scars and all that stuff, right? But she should have died right then and there. But thanks to the blood, and also Shiori said a prayer to her, a prayer, say, telling her that she must survive. Now this is one big betrayal, because the whole time, back when Hinako can remember, she heard those words, "You must survive," but she assumed that it was coming for that it was her family telling her to survive, and that's why she was clinging on to the death of her family, because they wanted her to survive, to live, right? And that was kind of like her reason, despite the fact that she wants to die though, but still. But it turns out it was Shiori who said that to her. It was the voice that she was hearing. So that was such a big betrayal. I'm like, oh my god. So basically, it forced her to live. She should have been dead and then and there though, but it was kind of like she was forced to live because of the blood and the prayer, right? So that just, when I heard that though, that was like, oh my god, that's such a big betrayal, and let alone such a guilt struck blow to Hinako. I'm like, my god, that was just. I was like, I was like, oh my, I was like, like I said, one twist just keeps on going off after another, and that just kind of just like almost like killed her inside because, like I said, she assumed the whole time that was her family telling her to survive, but nope, it was a prayer that Shiori said telling her to survive. So basically, she was forced to live where she should have died then and there. Like I said, with the blood and all that stuff, it forced her to live more. So and then and she also wanted to tell her, hey, maybe you should taste it because it's almost healed up right from the wound that she got from the other from the yokai from the axe strike, right? And so and she didn't do it to save her. She was just doing it for, like I said, she was doing it for, it's like yokai are always so dishonest and liars, right? I was saving for my own personal sake, right? And after that point, Hinako has had enough, and she just walked off in the rain, and just completely bypassing, ignoring Miko, right? And Miko immediately, and upon that, Miko immediately transformed to her fox form. It's like, what did you do to her? But she didn't do anything. Shiori just sat there with that look on her face, and just like not smiling though, but just that look, and that's more just like, now she's contradicting is like, well, yeah, maybe she wants her to live more though, but and now she's questioning her own character as well. Shiori is, and so and then she goes and asks Miko, hey, let's go on a date tomorrow. You free tomorrow? Let's go on a date. So they go to a zoo and they look at these penguins, and she goes and she asks Miko, say, hey, what do they look like to you? And she says, oh, they're cute. And so then Shiroko says, cute, huh? Well, that's not why I describe it. They're meat. Both humans and the animals, they're meat. And so, and then she tells that there was this little backstory, like back in the days, like back in the old days, like I said with Miko, when we had a flashback when she was like in the feudal, like I said, from Inuyasha times, like the feudal era times, right? Back we saw her Miko back when she was in during those times and that era, and we see like another flash. We see a flash where sure it looked like she was in that era as well because yokai's lived a long time, right? And so she said there was a girl that was kind of similar to Hinako, right? Not wanting to live and all that. So and I think she looked a little bit younger than Hinako is, because we see her because the girl sees her in her mermaid form, and so I guess now by the next episode we're gonna get the backstory. We're gonna get the backstory of that girl and her and Shuri back then, right? So, but she was saying there was a girl that was like Hinako from back then because she was also because Miko was telling her, hey, you know, I live with humans. Originally I didn't want to, but you know what? As time went on, I got to more comfortable and I was having fun with humans until it was the point where she met Hinako, right? And then Shira says, "Well, yeah, I did live with humans once." And that's where we get the story with the flashback with seeing that one human girl that was in a way kind of like Hinako not wanting to live, right? So we're probably gonna get the tragic. I know there's no doubt it's gonna be like another tragic backstory, a tragic story, like, but it's not gonna be anywhere as tragic on the betrayal that Hinako had, right? And that was like the why this show, especially this episode, is absolute peak 10 out of 10 again. If I would give it 20 out of 10 if I had to, because that's how good, very good of an excellent, fantastic episode this was. Because that twist just like made me go, oh my god, because that just went against everything that Hinako wanted. Because like I said, she wanted to try. She was trying to live because she thought she heard it was her family that was telling her to survive. But no, it was Shiori and her prayer, let alone her blood was basically telling her to survive. She was forced to survive. Where she could have been dead then and there though, but like I said, because of the prior to the accident, like I said, it would give with giving her blood the first time prior to the accident, it would give like years to adjust, but because of the accident, it kind of just amped up the mutation in her to like the next 11th to the next 11th power. So it's no, I love it because like I just feel horrible. I feel horrible. I could feel the betrayal for Hinako. I could feel the big guilt stricken grief, that betrayal that she just had. You know, I can just feel that for her. It's like I just never felt so bad for a character this season, or probably for any character I've watched this year, all the shows I've watched this year, right? Of all the characters I've seen, the shows I reviewed this year, you know, I think I've never felt so horrible, so sorry for than Hinako. Because she is the one I just felt so horrible and I just felt so bad for, you know? I just felt her portrayal right there. So yeah, so of all the characters of this season, let alone all the ones I watched to review this year, Hinako is the most I just feel the most sorry for. So yeah, so now she's just like wondering what she should do now, because she says she wants to die. It was like she's asking, hey, do you still want to eat me even despite the fact that I taste not disgusting? And then she always like question her character, like, that she doing this so that Hinako can still live, you know? And so I mean, I'm not gonna be surprised if there's gonna be another. I wouldn't be not surprised if there's gonna be another big twist in the next episode, following that story of that, with Shiori and that one girl in that flashback. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised though. So, but yeah, but this was such a fantastic episode. This is why this monster wants to eat me. It's been such a 10 out of 10 peak of perfection series. You know, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sad to say I won't continue on watching Spy Family, despite I am watching it off camera though, but just not reviewing it on here though. But this show has been, as much as I love Spy Family season 3 so far, is that this monster wants to eat me. I think it just, with the twists and bombshells, has been this show has been dropping, and the feeling sorry for Hinako has made me think this show has been better than watching Spy Family, which I love though, and I love the characters. I love the Forger family and all the other supporting characters in that though. But this has been just the peak of 10 out of 10, just probably just barely surpassing Spy Family for me. So because of all what was happening in this episode, and of course the rest of it though, but still. So yeah, so episode 9 of This Monster Wants to Eat Me, it's been just like 10 out of 10 at peak perfection, you know, fire of an episode, you know, just because there's like the biggest betrayal, you know, I've seen this season. I just feel for Hinako. I feel for Hinako. I really do. So yeah, like I said, this has been just peak of perfection of a series, you know. And this episode has been easily the best one of the series so far. So, but we still have another month to go. So I will say season 2 is probably on the horizon, because maybe it's not a full adaptation. I think the manga is still going on. I think so. Maybe we'll get a full adaptation of it from if they're announced a season 2 though, which I hope so. So, but yeah, but thanks for watching. Take care, and once again, like I said, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and like this special Thanksgiving episode review, because very fitting, because it was such a fantastic episode. Say it was great to review on Thanksgiving. So, but like I said, thanks for watching. Take care and happy Thanksgiving again, and we'll see you next time. Later.